Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves. Well, folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Here I am in front of, well, it says Irving School on it. But it looks more like a bunch of condos or something like that. I'm here at Sugar House, historic Sugar House here in Salt Lake City. And, well, we're going to talk about this building and this block behind us here. Something kind of interesting about it and some of the history. So stick with us on Echoes from the Chalkboard today. We'll talk about Irving Schoolhouse. So let's step back in time and imagine my Mustang as a time machine. We get out and here it is back in the day. Look at those retaining walls. Beautiful, beautiful retaining walls. And the stairs going up to the front of the building. Yeah, it wasn't on a level playing field there. To get to the front area, the front office, you had to walk up these stairs to get there. Things sure have changed over the years, haven't they? So look at this picture taken 82.5 years ago on 21st South looking east. Imagine the Mustang being parked right behind that car there on the right hand side, and that will be exactly where I shot that little bit of video from. Wow, kind of neat looking at it back then. 82.5 years ago in this picture. So let's go back a little bit further to the 29th ward. Previous to 1890, this area was known as the 29th Ward, and because we had wards back in the day, and you had your chapel, and you had a little rec hall, and quite often the schools were part of your ward. So this was the original 29th Ward school building, and was there on this particular site. But in 1890, there was a 2-story, 8-room building that was built on this particular site. At first, only 4 of the rooms were used. When Salt Lake County was divided into the Granite and the Jordan school districts, the name was changed to Ashton School after the county superintendent, B.W. Ashton. The name was later changed to Irving. In 1910, this school came under the jurisdiction of the city schools, became part of the city program, Salt Lake City School District. So during the year 1917-1918, the school was operated as an annex to the Uinta School. And in 1918 became known as the it became a junior high school. I recall it was the year that we became a state that it was changed to Irving. Anyway, it had a daily attendance of 360 students. The unfinished basement of this building was used in the wintertime for activities such as boxing and group games. Now keep in mind that once this building was built, only half the rooms were being used there at first. Here is a great picture from the 1911 Sanborn map of the Irving School, back when it was, known as the Ashton School, whatever you wanted to call it. No, by this time it was the Irving School, as you can see, in 1911. And you notice, instead of 21st South, you have 12th Street South. Isn't that cool? The numbering system was much different. So this kind of shows you where it was on the plot of land. Here is a great picture from, I believe this was taken in 1908, from the area of 13th East and real close to Simpson Avenue. You can see the railroad tracks that John W. Young built heading up towards Parley's Hollow and then on up to Park City. I believe this is the narrow gauge line. Isn't that a cool picture? And you can see the old Irving School there in the background. In 1918, the 2-story building was torn down and a 9-room, 1-story building was erected in its place. Portable buildings and the old Sugar House Ward Meeting House were used to supplement the main building. In 1920, a 10-room, one-story addition was erected and was occupied that September. In 1929, a 3-story unit was built to the west of the original buildings. This here is one of my favorite pictures. It's one of those panoramic type pictures. Yeah, open up the lens for a little bit longer and get a good picture of the whole building. But you can see the young man in the foreground move just a little bit, and is quite blurry, but I absolutely love this picture. Again, there's 12th East right there, and this is on the corner of 21st and 12th East. So look at this beautiful picture. This had to have been taken about 1937. You can see those beautiful walls, the retaining walls, and the now groomed lawn and the groomed bushes out front. What a beautiful building this is. Those trees that were there in earlier pictures have been removed. And, well, honestly, I think that the place looks pretty darn good at this point. This is looking west on 2100 South near 1300 East. You can see the roof of the Irving School there, kind of in the center. On the left-hand side, you can see some cars parked. And again, that's where I parked the old Mustang, and took some pictures of what was left of this this facade that they were able to save of the school. So here is your 1929 building, the 3-story unit. And my understanding was this had a gymnasium in it, that this also had an auditorium, a larger auditorium area in it. Unfortunately, I was never able to go into this building before it was torn down, and tragically, I wish I had. I wish I'd been able to go through and look at this. Here's another great picture taken between the buildings. A student out there on the lawn, just sunning themselves, but give you some idea what a beautiful, beautiful place Irving was. And this particular picture that's taken right out in front of Irving, looking across the street to that area where I parked. That's kind of neat. You can see what the buildings were on that side of 2100 South. By this time, a few trees had been planted. Now, these pictures here, these are some great pictures, and let's go through what these are. Well, these following pictures were taken in, I believe it was 1973. The school was closed in 1972 due to decreasing enrollment. Keep in mind that Irving, there at the end, was an 81,731 square foot facility with all of the buildings put together. It sat on a 5.42 acre plot of land. Also, there was an addition to the building done clear at the back in 1961, and I may have a picture of that. Irving's official address was 1179 East, 2100 South. Love these pictures from the 70s. You can see the firebox sitting right out in front, the fire pole station right out in front of the building. Here's a great picture looking north on 1200 East. Man, do I remember this from growing up. So here's a picture looking north on Elizabeth Street. Notice that I always thought it was some kind of a smokestack sitting there. It has something to do with the fire alarm, whatever. I got to do some more investigating, but I remember some of these sitting around the city from time to time. Beautiful brickwork. The color is just amazing. I was fortunate enough to get my hands on these pictures because what the school district would do is before they would sell a property, they would take lots of great pictures. And there's your 1961 shop building there in the back. So they would take pictures of the building and they would have the measurements and whatnot. They would put this into an assessment, and it would be assessed how much the building was worth by an independent contractor. And then that would kind of give the district some idea what their asking price could be. Then the property would be sold. I remember this building sitting vacant for many, many years. And then there was actually a fire, an arson fire at one point in time that destroyed it. For it was eventually sold to a company who developed it into condos, but kept the front fascia of the old building, which is absolutely awesome. Anyway, thank you for joining us, folks. I hope you've enjoyed looking at these pictures.